Welcome to sportsbookraeview.com. I'm Flash, and this is your home of Japanese and South Korean baseball. That's the KBO and the NPB. We're going to be with Jason Radowitz, who's our maestro expert, and some of the figures that comes out of his head. I don't think he must have slept for weeks. But first of all, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, and ring the bell. You ring the bell means we can notify you, and you'll never miss any content again. Remember the thumbs up. We love the thumbs up because that shows appreciation for Jay, and it means that I can go to the big bosses and say, listen, they love this show. And if they love this show, we'll continue to do it. Also, if you press the link in the description, that will take you to Jay's articles. And if you have a little scout around, there'll be other articles on other sports that you'll thoroughly enjoy. Jay, how did we go last night? Did we just keep our head above water?
If you like bad beats, then we did well.
Bad beats are part of the game.
But yeah, we lost a bunch of games by 1 or 2 runs. Also on a walk-off home run with our banker. So it was a day of bad beats. It was, in the morning, early morning, looked like we were going to sweep, and then all of a sudden everything just changed and exploded right in our faces. But it was still a fun morning nonetheless.
And the Bears were involved in another massive game in the KBO. Big scoring.
Yeah, that's how the road games have been going. That was another bad beat. Had them first 5 to lead in that game. They were up 7-5. Allowed 2 runs in the 5th inning and let it go tied in the 5th inning. So we lost that bet off of really bad pitching on both ends.
Yeah, I mean, are we starting to get a little bit of a handle now on the KBO because we are like 30 games in? Obviously, still another 110 games to go. Yes, 110 games to go in the KBO. But what about when we go to the NPB, because we're looking at some of them sides and some of them are struggling just to get one victory, never mind a few.
Yeah, the NPB is really ridiculous right now. We've seen how other teams are starting to, start winning these games that they're not supposed to, and then they're not in games when they have a better pitcher on the mound. So like Orix, for example, they have their best pitcher on the mound and they don't perform. They have a bad pitcher on the mound, they do perform, they end up winning somehow. So a lot of crazy stuff going on, but now if you're going to see going into tomorrow's games, pitchers are now going to be pitching their 3rd game, most of them tomorrow. So now we have a little bit of data to look at for the season.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's your job to sort it out, so don't be blaming anybody else and giving me excuses. I want a clean sweep sooner or later, Jay. Now, just to remind everyone, we are live, and if we're live, that means you're our second guest. And already we've got Jess, Daniel, Shaheem, Jasu Uch, who's my little French friend, I do believe, Disca, and Shaheem Taylor. We're all in the chat, so come on, give me your bad beats, give me your tips, your leans, or anything you want me to ask Jay. Jay, we've got a new series, though, in the KBO, and we've got a new series in the Central Division of the NPB, so let's just start off with the KBO. Then it's the LG Twins against the Samsung Lions, and the Lions continue to frustrate.
Yeah, if the Samsung Lions were facing anybody other than Tyler Wilson of the Twins, I probably would make an official play on Samsung, but I'm staying away from this game. Samsung, they've been very good at home, especially as underdog at home. They've been profitable at home as underdog, so this one's a little scary for me. I think the pitching matchup for Tyler Wilson against Bayak Jung Hyun, I think LG has the pitching matchup and probably have a better team. But again, Samsung, as underdogs at home, they always perform. They always upset everybody. Game I'm staying away from. I'd also lean towards under 9 in this matchup.
Yeah, under 9, and the thing is, I think the LG Twins are so much better than the Samsung Lions, but again, I'm like an old stuck record, honestly. I'll drive you mad, I will bore you to sleep by telling you go against the Lions at your peril. So we'll just leave that then, and we'll move on to the Eagles and the Bears. Now, don't tell me that the Bears don't win this by minus 1.5.
Yeah, I probably agree with you. I'm going to stay away from this game. Reasoning is because, now Doosan is back at home where they haven't performed as well as of late. Also, if you recall, a couple weekends ago, Doosan Bears played Hanwha Eagles in a weekend series, and Hanwha was on a big losing streak and then ended up winning 2 of those 3 games and won the series over Doosan. So does that scare you a little bit? It scares me just a little bit. At the end of the day, though, Raul Alcantara's on the mound for Doosan. He has a 3.69 ERA and a 4.14 FIP. Kim Bum-Chu's on the mound for Hanwha, 4.34 ERA, 5.73 FIP. So I would look at, if you're going to take this game, I would look at over team total for Doosan at 5.5, which seems pretty low. Of course, they haven't performed as well at home. That's why the team total is a little bit lower. But I would still believe that over 5.5 hits as a team total, it would be a lean at this point. Right now, the money line is at around minus 350. No way I'm touching that. The minus 1.5 is a little scary too. Probably around minus 170, minus 180 on minus 1.5. There's no reason to touch it, especially with Doosan being home. I look at also leaning towards the over 9, but again, Doosan away and home splits are completely different. I want to wait it out and see how they do in this first game.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the team total because Dan said, Jay, do you think that Doosan score at least 5.5? Well, yes, he does, Dan. And also, Daniel on the game before says he's going to go for the Lions plus 1.5. You know, them Lions hang around. But the LG Twins, they do have a touch of class. Let's move on to the Heroes, who are absolutely on fire. And they're playing against the Wiz.
Yeah, but you know who's even more on fire is Eric Jokic. He's on the mound for the Kiwoom Heroes. He was almost perfect in his last game against Kia. In 7 innings, he was perfect. He went 8 innings, allowed 1 hit in that game. Was fantastic. In his one game against KT, and he's still facing KT, in his one game against KT this year, he had a season high 9 strikeouts and dominated KT, allowed no runs in 6 innings, pitched phenomenally in that one. So I'd expect the same from Jokic in this one, going up against Zamir Despaigne, who's probably a little overhyped as a pitcher for KT. He's an import pitcher. He's pitched in the major leagues, but if you look at his last couple of games, in like 4 or 5 of his last 6 games, he's allowed 4 earned runs or more. And the other game, he allowed 2 earned runs. So as long as Kiwoom can score 2 or more runs, I would expect Kiwoom to win. And with Kiwoom's offense performing the way they're performing, why not? So Kiwoom minus 155, an official play. Also, I would lean towards under 4.5 for KT. I'm high on Jokic. I think he's in perfect form. He looked incredible versus Kia. And I don't see why he can't perform that same way against KT.
Yeah, and the Heroes minus 1.5 against the Wiz would be another way to go as well. You probably get plus money, or if not, you'll get around the minus 105 or something like that. So I definitely see Heroes continuing their great streak. Now, what about the Wyverns and the Giants? Because these two sides, you chuck the balls up in the air and they will land differently every single time.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that the Lotte Giants, after this NC Dinos series, kind of showed that they can hang around, they can hit the ball, they can perform, and hit against bad bullpens like the NC Dinos. Well, the SK Wyverns, they're a bad bullpen team. They don't have the best pitching staff either in terms of starting rotations. And SK, they've only won 6 out of their, 27 games on the road this season. So SK has been awful on the road. The Lotte Giants we talked about are good at home this season. So I think the edge favors the Lotte Giants here. Adrian Sampson's going on the mound. He's got a 6.16 ERA, but his FIP is just 4.01. So it's been a little bit unlucky in his first 6 starts of the season. I think against SK he'll perform just fine with that brutal offense. Ricardo Pinto's on the mound for SK. He's got a 4.02 ERA, a 4.34 FIP. But Pinto, he's been really shaky throughout the entire season. There's nothing really that excites you about him. Both these guys have the same whip of 1.66. So if you're looking at, the pitching matchup is probably equal, maybe a little bit to favor Sampson in terms of FIP. So I would easily go with the Lotte Giants as an official play at also minus 155. But also lean towards under 9 with both import pitchers going in this one.
Okay, under 9 and minus 155, but we did get that word official, and we love it when we hear official. Now, the last one in the first game of the series, and normally, Jay, when we look at the first game of the series, it's not a whole host of runs across the board, and it's the Tigers versus the Dinos. Dinos back to winning ways.
Yeah, so this one is pretty interesting. Like you said, there's maybe not going to be too many runs tomorrow morning. Well, Drew Gagnon's on the mound for Kia, 3.88 ERA and a 2.92 FIP. That 2.92 FIP is actually 3rd best in all of the KBO, behind Koo Chang Mo and his teammate Aaron Brooks. So yeah, Gagnon's been really good, but it also scares you with the Dinos at home. Within that lineup has done damage. They scored against Straley this morning, who's another one of the better pitchers in the league. So it's hard to fade the NC Dinos at home in any way, shape, or form, even if they're going up against Gagnon. But Choi Sung Young is on the mound for the Dinos. He has a 5.94 ERA and a 7.49 FIP. So now we got a pitcher with a 7.49 FIP, and then a pitcher with a 2.92 FIP in Gagnon. So for now, it's an official play. Kia Tigers -110. I hate fading the Dinos at home, but it's a crazy pitching matchup. And we know the Dinos, their bullpen has been awful as of late as well. So you add a 7.49 FIP starting pitcher plus that brutal bullpen. Gagnon should be able to hold it down at least enough for Kia to get this win. If you don't want to take a team in this one, I would definitely recommend Kia for over 4.5 in team total. That might be the way I go when I give my official plays out on Twitter later on. I'm still debating if I like the Kia at -110 or just take the team total at 4.5 because that seems like it's the better option at this point. But for me, it's so tough fading the Dinos at home. But I'm leaning towards that way, and it's probably going to be an official play later.
Jay, I just see your information and knowledge as ingredients. You throw them out there, you put them on the table, and all the people in the chat and all the people that watch this video, they're their own chefs. They can cook it up any which way. Because remember, your leans throw up as many winners as the officials. So listen, you just throw them out there, and they will make up, and they will press a button, and they will do what they want to do, and hopefully they come up trumps more often than not. Okay, so give me your official plays in the KBO before we go to the Pacific, where we're on game 4 of 6.
Yeah, so we're going to the official play of Kiwoom at -155 over the KT WIZ. Another official play with the Lotte Giants at -155 over the SK Wyverns. And we'll have an official play on Kia, whether that's -110 or that's over 4.5 is yet to be determined for me. But know that I'm on Kia, if anything. And, you make the decision if you'd rather just take the over 4.5 or the money line at -110.
Okay, then Daniel's saying that the Dinos have lost 4 versus Kia. Listen, it's one of those, though. You've just got to make sure. Listen, if we go with Kia, we're going to go with over 4.5 because I fancy that the runs are the way to go, to be fair. And then, you can still lose the game, but you still win your bet. And I think that's the way to go. Now, the NPB Pacific Division, as we said, it's game 4 of 6. And we're going to start off with the Fighters versus the Hawks.
Yeah, so I actually have an official play on this one. It was kind of wild this morning. The game went 9-8. And we were talking about how they had 2 import pitchers going. It was really a nice, good game for the pitching staff, and it wasn't. So now I'm going to say, it's again going to be a good pitching performance by these 2 pitchers in this game. We got Neo Higashihama on the mound for the SoftBank Hawks. He has a 2.45 ERA in the first 2 games of the season. He's went 11 innings in those 2 games, allowed 3 runs, 2 homers, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. He's actually 40-23 in his career in the NPB. If you look back at his numbers in 2017 and 2018, he actually dominated that league. It looked like he was injured in 2019, and that's where he struggled a little bit. And now he's back in the league. Now he has a 2.45 ERA in those 2 games. So I think he's going to perform pretty well. And then Kohei Arihare's on the mound for the Nippon Fighters. He actually led the league in wins and ERA last season. He wasn't great the other seasons before that, but he looked really good last season, hasn't performed the way you like him to perform this season. 12 innings, 14 hits, 7 earned runs, 8 runs, 14 strikeouts and 2 walks. And that's what kind of stands out to me is the 14 strikeouts and the 2 walks. Yeah, he's been pretty bad with a 5.25 ERA, but this is the guy that had the most wins last year, the best ERA last year, and he's obviously striking out batters and throwing solid enough. So I think both these pitchers will perform in this one. Nippon Fighters have been a pretty poor offensive team throughout the entire season, so Neo Higashihama will look fine against Nippon Fighters. That was their first game where they had like an outburst of runs. So yeah, I like the under 7.5 as an official play, and I'd also lean towards SoftBank at -125. But I wouldn't touch a money line in this one. It's too close to call.
Okay, no problem at all. Now, Brandon Porter says it sucks that certain sports books don't offer the in-play first 5 innings. Well, I tell you what, go to sportsbookreview.com, Brendan. Go over to the books. There's nearly every single book that you would want there from Bet Online, Bovada, Heritage, Pinnacle. And have a look and see which one suits you, then join, and you can have other options. It's always good to have as many options as you can because one book might offer you 110, one might offer you plus 110. So just keep shopping around. But go over to sportsbookreview.com and you will find everything you need there. But good luck anyway. Next one, we're going to go with the Rakuten Eagles and the Chiba Marines. And the Marines coming off of that absolute smashing of the Buffaloes, are now starting to struggle a little.
Yeah, they struggled a little bit, but they just won this game in the morning. I was actually leaning towards the Rakuten Eagles yesterday morning and then stayed away from it. I was going to make an official play. It was in my article as a play, but at the last second, I leaned away from it and went to something else instead. But this time, I'm going to make sure that I lock Rakuten in. But it's going to be in the round robin format in the NPB. So you're going to have to stay tuned on how that round robin is going to work out. But it's the first time I'm ever doing a round robin on this. But I do believe that in the NPB, there's 3 games that on the money line should be of good value for a round robin. So the Rakuten Eagles will be one of them. Ayumu Ashikawa of Lotte, he's pitching better as of late in the first 2 games. But if you look back in his career, he hasn't performed nearly as well as he has in these first 2 games. So it looks like he's got more strikeouts and he's just performing better. And I think that's going to regress. Again, he faced the Orix Buffaloes in 1 game, and now he's facing the Rakuten Eagles. I think he's going to regress a little bit. And Takahiro Norimoto of Rakuten, he's been a force in his first 2 games this season. He's went 14 innings in those 2 games, allowed just 5 hits in 14 innings, 2 runs, 13 strikeouts, and just 3 walks. Has a .57 WHIP in those first 2 games. So I'm all over Rakuten, but it's going to be a part of the round robin.
Okay, what is the money line on them?
The money line is around -185, but I do think it's going up around -200. So
okay,
yeah.
Maybe even a little bit of the Eagles, -1.5. You know, I like to push it up a little bit. Now the Lions versus the Buffaloes. Buffaloes, you are the whipping boys.
Yeah, I think the Lions are big favorites in this one. I think even going as far as saying -1.5 would be the way to go. For me, this game's a lean. It's 2 pitchers. Zach Neal's on the mound for the Seibu Lions, who's an import pitcher who's pitched really well in his career in the league. He's looked really good in the first 2 games. Just has a 1.46 ERA in those 2 games, went 12.1 innings, allowed just 7 hits, 4 runs, but only 2 are earned, 10 strikeouts and 4 walks. But if you look at his career, the 10 strikeouts is kind of high. He's not a big strikeout guy. He's more of a softball contact in the field kind of guy in terms of pitching. He'll go up against Tsubasa Sakibara of the Orix Buffaloes, and it's actually his first start of the season for him. He's had 2 games in the minor leagues this season already, 8.1 innings in the minors, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 7 strikeouts, and 4 walks with a 3.24 ERA. So this will be his first start in the NPB. But at the end of the day, I don't think I'd be willing to pay the price for Seibu. I'm not willing to pay the price. That's just straight away. I'm just not willing to pay the price for Seibu Lions in this one. -1.5 would be the way to go. I'd also look at under 8.5. But again, this one's a pretty tough game, and I'm going to stay away.
Okay, before we go to the Central Division, can you give me your official plays in the Pacific, please?
Yeah, so we're going to go under 7.5 for the SoftBank Hawks and Nippon Fighters game. And we'll go with the Rakuten Eagles will be part of the round robin play in my official play.
Excellent. Okay, let's kick on. Central Division, they start a new series. It's game 1 of 3. And this time it's the Giants versus the Dragons.
Yeah, so this one's a pretty interesting game because Chunichi Dragons are throwing out Yudai Ono. He's been so bad the first 2 games. And it's funny, though, because he had a 2.58 ERA last season. Well, in 10 innings, he's allowed 20 hits, 10 earned runs, 5 home runs in 2 games, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk. So he's been really bad. But the funny thing is, the line it's still at over under 7.5 because we're looking at his numbers from last season. I don't think he's replicating anything from last season because he's looked awful in his first 2 games this season. So I love this official play for the Giants over team total 4.5 at -103. If you don't have team totals like some of you guys said in the chat, look at Giants -1.5 because Tomoyuki Sugano's on the mound for the Giants, and he's one of their ace. He's the ace pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the NPB. He's went 12.2 innings, allowed 13 hits, 7 runs, 2 home runs, 12 strikeouts, and just 2 walks. Yeah, it looks pretty bad on his stat line for the first 2 games, but in his career, he's just been phenomenal. Has like a win percentage of a really high win percentage, and he's just been really good for the Giants throughout his entire career, and he should be fine against Chunichi Dragons. So, yeah, official play Giants over team total of 4.5. If you don't have that and you want to do an official play on the game, look at the Giants minus 1.5. I think the Giants steamroll over the Chunichi Dragons in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're looking at the Giants on longevity and futures. They're going to be there or thereabouts at the very, very end of this race. And it's a long race as well, by the way. Now, what about your Carp versus your Tigers? These are two teams that they like to mess with your mind.
Yeah, Hiroshima Carp, they were up 4-0 this morning against the Walking Fade. Then the Walking Fade was taken out of the game, and then the Carp lost. So, but yeah, no, I like the Carp in this one. Daichi Osera's on the mound for Hiroshima. He's actually pitched 2 complete games in the first 2 games this season. So he's went the full 9 innings in both games, allowing 12 hits, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a home run in those 2 games. Has a whip of .778 in those first 2 games. So, yeah, he's been phenomenal in those 2 games. Has a career ERA of 3.33. So, yeah, if I would make a play on this one, it's a lean, but I would take Hiroshima at around minus 200 or even look at minus 1.5. Again, Hiroshima didn't help me out this morning. Got hurt, so I'm fading them today. But if I had to make a play, it would definitely be Hiroshima, and I would also lean towards under 7.
Okay, and the last game in the Central is going to be the Swallows versus the Baystars.
So this is a fun one because we have a veteran pitcher, a 40-year-old pitcher, against a pretty young pitcher in Shoto Imanaga. The old pitcher is Masanori Ishikawa. He's 40 years old and has very low strikeout numbers, going up against one of the better offenses in the league in the Baystars. Imanaga has a 2.91 ERA last season, and he has high strikeout numbers throughout his career. So I like the Baystars here. Again, they'll be a part of the round robin that I'll talk about after this game. You can get them around minus 180, maybe now minus 200, because all of these games are starting to kind of go up. So you can also look at over 4.5 for the Baystars against a veteran pitcher. Ishikawa has 11 innings pitched, 14 hits, 4 runs, 2 home runs, 8 strikeouts, and 1 walk. And then Imanaga has 12 strikeouts, just 1 walk, 2 earned runs, 11 hits, in 13 innings. I like the Baystars in this one. I think that they're going to be able to get away from the Giants after that series, and they'll be able to perform against kind of weaker opponents. So I like the Baystars in this one for sure.
And I think that's the point. I think there's a massive gulf between top and bottom in ability-wise. The Giants are probably the best, and the Swallows, well, they're nowhere near it. So, I mean, I'd even go with the Baystars, minus 1.5 again, Jay. But before, just give me your official plays then in the Central, please.
Yeah, so we'll go with the Giants over team total 4.5 against the Chunichi Dragons. And then the round robin I was looking at would be the Eagles, the Baystars, and the Giants in that round robin. Yeah, so I don't know what the odds are specifically on all of them, but on a 3-team parlay for these 3 teams, it would be plus 220. And so you could look at the round robin in terms of these 3 teams. I think all 3 teams will be probably finish around minus 200 when these games begin. And I do think that these 3 teams definitely have the edge in these games that they're playing.
Okay, I'm just trying to work it out in my head. It probably pays about plus 210 for the 3-team parlay if they're all around minus 200. So how bad? Just do the 3-team parlay. We'll be celebrating tomorrow because Friday that will be game 2 of 3 and we'll go into the weekend's games. Now, if you like this video, which I hope you did, it's subscribe, press the button, ring the bell. And if you ring the bell, we'll notify you and you'll never miss any content again. And if you press the link in the description, then you can go and read Jay's articles, not just Jay's articles. There'll be other writers on other sports. And remember, if you're not getting the right odds on your books, go to sportsbookreview.com. Remember, Sportsbook Review. We review all the books. Go and have a look and see if there's any there that you want to join. And remember, thumbs up to show your appreciation for Jay. Jay, good luck today. Yesterday was fish and chip paper, and we're going to go clean sweep and a 3-leg parlay.
Yeah, I'm excited. This should be a good one. We have a lot of favorites that should be cashing.
Okay, and everyone in the chat, especially you, Jess. I know you're on the winner. May that continue. We'll see you all tomorrow, and we appreciate your support. You take care.